Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music. I'm going to talk about how you could play a song called Do I Want to Know by the Arctic Monkeys. And it starts out with this really cool riff, actually, where you could play first fret on the low E string, and we do a hammer on the third fret, and then we go to first fret on the A, and then third fret on the low E string, and then we do that first fret and third fret hammer on again, and then first fret on the A, and then we take first fret on the D string and kind of do a slide to third, and then we go to first fret on the D, and then open D, third fret on the A, and then we do a hammer on again from 1 to 3, but on the A string, and then open D, and then third fret on the A, and then we do the hammer on the A again from 1 to 3, and then we do third fret to fifth fret as kind of a slide on the A string, and we do that again, and then we end up back on third fret on the low E string. So we got 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 1 3 1 0 3 1 3 0 3 1 3 3 5 3 5 3 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 1 3 1 0 3 1 3 0 3 1 3 3 5 3 5 3. It's kind of that main verse chorus like that comes back. Now the chords that would back that up would actually start on a G minor chord. And normally you do this as a bar on third fret, third finger on the A string on the fifth fret, pinky on the D string on the fifth fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G minor chord and sounds really sad. Now you could also back it up with a G5 power chord where you do first finger on the low E string, third fret, third finger on the A string on the fifth fret, and kind of strum just the E and the A string. That sounds a G5 power chord. Or you could do kind of a sneaky G minor if you wanted to, where you could do second finger on the low E string on the third fret, third finger on the B string on the third fret, pinky on the high E string on the third fret. And what you do is kind of mute out the A string actually. So you're trying not to kind of play the A string, and that ends up with kind of a big cool G5 and kind of reposition. And then from the G minor we go into an E flat major chord. Now you could do this as kind of a bar chord too, where you could do 6th fret bar and then third finger over the D, G, and B on the 8th fret. It's kind of an E flat major. Or you could do this as kind of a little D shape where you do first finger on the G third fret, second finger on the high E third fret, third finger on the B string third fret or fourth fret, and kind of strum just the G, B, and E, kind of the skinny three strings. It's kind of an E flat. Or you could do an E flat 5 power chord where you do first finger on the A string on the 6th fret, third finger on the D string 8th fret, kind of strum just the E and the A, or the A and the D string. It's kind of an E5. And then from the E5 we go to a C minor chord. Normally do this as kind of a bar on third fret, second finger on the B string 4th fret, third finger on the D string 5th fret, and the pinky on the G string 5th fret. And if we strum all those together, that sounds a C minor chord. That sounds really sad. Now you may also want to think about using a power chord for that, doing first finger on the A string third finger on the D string 5th, and strumming just the A and the D strings together. Or you could do a sneaky C minor by doing second finger on the A string on the 3rd fret, third finger on the B string on the 3rd fret, pinky on the high E third, and muting out the D string. So try not to hear the D string. Kind of like a C major 9, no third. Kind of C minor 9. And then we'll basically be going back to the G minor after that. Now at the very end of our verse phrase, though, is kind of that same progression. We end up on a D major chord where you do first finger on the G string 2nd fret, second finger on the high E 2nd fret, third finger on the B string on the 3rd fret, and if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major chord. You may want to think about that for kind of that accent at the end of the verse. Or the lick that's going on there is really just kind of taking the 3rd fret on the A string and then doing a slide to 5th fret on the A string. Or you could do that as a power chord lick by taking the C5 and sliding it over 2 frets. And now I got first finger on the A 5th fret, third finger on the D string 7th fret. It's kind of a D5 power chord. So there's a couple different ways you may want to kind of work it actually. You could do it as kind of just that E flat, C5, G5, G5, E flat, C, C, G5, until we kind of have that CD hit at the end. Or you could work it as a strumming thing, and one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 is down, down, up, up, down, up. So you could kind of work that too and have that G, down, up, down, up, G, down, up, flat and the C minor kind of half. So you'd have G minor, down, up, E flat, down, up, C minor, G minor, through the verse. G minor, da da da, E flat, C minor, G minor, G minor. You end up doing that 3 times. That E flat, C minor, G minor for our first verse. And then we end up kind of with that D hit at the end of the last one. G minor, E flat, C minor, D. Kind of work some build-ups through that part. And then from that verse, or another strum pattern that you might want to think about for that verse, is a little bit funkier pattern, is what I call a 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is if you're tapping your foot to the beat, right now we're dividing that beat into 2 parts with our down, down, up, down. 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's called an 8th note. What a 16th note is where you divide that into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one of my favorite 16th note strum patterns is long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. And what I mean by that is if you take that G5 we're doing in root position and do it down for 4, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you do on the first beat. Then on the second beat, you do it down on 1, down on 3, up on 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And then on the third beat, you do it up on 2, down on 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down. And then on the last beat, you go down, up, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So all together, you got down. That through that first verse, you have the G minor, down, 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 up, E flat, down, down, up, C minor, down, down, up, C minor, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, G minor, E flat, C minor, G minor, there's some cool licks that kind of come in on the pre-chorus where you take 5th fret on the D string and we do a 5th fret slide to 1st fret on the D string, and then 3rd fret on the A, open D, 1st fret on the D, open D, 3rd fret on the A, and then 1st fret on the A, 3rd fret on the A, and then we do the 1st fret, 3rd fret hammer on the A string, and then open D, and then 3rd fret on the low E string. And then we go back to that 1-3 hammer on the low E, 1st fret on the A, and then back to 3rd fret on the low E string. And then we kind of start that over again. 5, 1, 3, 0, 1, 0, 3, 1, 3. But then at the end we go back to just 3rd fret on the low E string as kind of an accent on the low E string on the 3rd. So all the way through that pre-chorus lick, you got the 5, 1, 3, 0, 1, 0, 3, 1, 3. 1, 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 0, 1, 0, 3, 1, 3, 3, and then 3. So on that part, actually, we're just mixing up the order of the chords. So you could do that with the down, down, up, and have E flat, C minor, the E flat, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C minor, G minor, and then from that pre-chorus, we'll be going into our first chorus, which kind of returns back to our intro and our verse licks. So you're kind of back to that 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 1 3 1 0 3 1 3 0 3 1 3 3 5 3 5 3. Kind of bringing back those licks. Now, what you may want to, something else that I would think about adding to the song though is bass notes. And so on that first down of the down, down, up, down, up, or of the down, 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 up, down, 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 you're throwing a bass for the chord. So on the G minor, if you're doing that reposition, you have the low E string for the bass. If you're doing the bar G minor, you have the low E string for the bass. On the E flat, if you're doing the bar on 6, you have the A string for the bass. On the cheat E flat, or the D shape one, you'd have the G string for that, or you can kind of fake the bass on that with kind of the G string. And on the C minor, you'd have the A string for the bass. It's the same thing for those voices. So if we tried that first chorus with basses, we could have the G minor with low E bass, E flat, C minor, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C minor, C minor, G minor. Or if you're digging on the 16th, you could add that to that too and have G, E flat, C minor, A bass, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C minor, C minor, G minor. And then from there, then we go into kind of a bridge breakdown where actually things kind of get slowed down. You kind of hear the third on the low E string, and then first fret on the D string, and then third on the A, and then we kind of wait, and then we do the 5th fret slide on the A, and end up back on 3 on the low E string. So it's almost like taking little pieces of the lick that we were just doing, and then kind of playing around with just a couple of notes of that as kind of a bass breakdown. And form-wise, that would actually kind of follow the verse chorus. If you wanted to just strum through that, you'd have the G minor, E flat, C minor, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C minor, C minor, G minor, through that part. And then from there, then we'd be going back into kind of our next verse, actually. And so we end up doing our progression one time before we hit the progression with the D on that second verse. So we got G minor, E flat, C minor, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C minor, C minor, D. And then from there, then we'll be going back into kind of our pre-chorus part. So we're kind of bringing back to that 5 1 lick. 3 0 1 0 3 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 3 5 1 3 0 1 0 3 1 3, and then kind of that 3 on the low E string. So you may want to kind of play around with that lick through that pre-chorus, or that E flat, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C minor, G minor. We're gonna have a big break on G minor, and then from there, then we going into our next chorus. So we kind of have that G minor, E flat, C minor, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C, G. And then from there, then we'll be going into kind of our outro. And we end up kind of on continuing what was our pre-chorus progression, but we end up with one spot where we end up hitting an F major chord instead, right after the G minor. So the way you play F major, you've got bar on the 1st fret, 2nd finger on the G string 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the A string 3rd fret, pinky on the D string 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an F major bar chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you may also want to use an F5 power chord, where you do 1st finger on the low E 1st fret, 3rd finger on the A string on the 3rd fret, and if you you strum the E and A string, that sounds an F5 power chord. Or if you're strumming through that, you may want to use an F major 7, which would sound a little odd in the song. But you could do first finger on the B string, 1st fret, second finger on the G string, 2nd fret, and third finger on the D string, 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string, the high E string, that sounds an F major 7, which normally can be a good substitute for the F bar, but for this song you may want to gravitate towards the power chord instead. So we tried that outro actually with kind of just a bass down, up, up, down, up. You got the E flat, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C, G minor, G minor, and then we end up on the top where we use the F chord, E flat, C minor, G minor, F, E flat, C minor, G minor, G minor. And we kind of stay on that G minor for the outro, and then we kind of have a big G minor at the end. And you'll hear at that last G minor, there's this cool little lick where you could go 1, 3, 3, 5, 3. Kind of a little abbreviation of what we had before. So the A string, 1, 3, 3, 5, 3. So you may want to kind of play around with that. Or there's this cool little lead part that shows up in the top part where you could play 8th fret on the B string, 10th fret on the B, 8th fret on the B, 10th fret on the B, 11 on the B, 8 on the high E, and then 11 on the B, and then 10 on the B. So you kind of hear that in the background. It's kind of that 8, 10, 8, 10, 11, 8, 11, 10. So that might be kind of a cool thing to kind of do too. Kind of on that last part. Or if you're digging on kind of the 16th note pattern through the outro, you have the E flat, C minor, G minor, G minor, E flat, C minor, G minor, G minor. And then we have on the top where we have E flat, C minor, G minor, and then it would have the low E bass if you go to the bar. E flat, C minor, G minor, G minor, G minor. Kind of a big hit on the G minor at the end. But that's the basics of how you get strummed through Do I Want to Know by the Arctic Monkeys. So good luck!